Ahead of South Africa's 7th general election on May 29th, News24 embarked on a nationwide tour telling the stories of communities as hurdles and hopes. The team of journalists visited more than 20 towns, covering almost 6,500 kilometers in 30 days. These are some of the stories they uncovered while on the road, starting with the Karoo hub of Beaufort West, where concerned citizens have put politics aside to fix the town.
Beaufort West was always a lovely town to live in, but things have really deteriorated over the last couple of years. So much so that one is sometimes shy to say that you actually live here. We cannot carry on like this. You know, services are not up to standard. We're having people, money is just, nothing happens in town, nothing is maintained. There's tremendous problems with the billing of water and lights in this town. The threat at the moment is that the minute you don't pay your bill, they just cut your electricity. Nothing has really changed. Even since the new, the PA got involved and Mr. Gayton McKenzie, lots of things were promised, lots of things were said. Some happened, others didn't. Well, I sincerely hope that people are going to come out and vote and realize that the only way that we are going to change anything in this country is by voting for a decent system. A system that works, people that are capable of doing the work, people that are qualified to do the work, and people that want to do the work for the sake of the people of South Africa.
I'm coming from ANC, I remember that. And I've been there for a period of time, 4 years. I was a youngster back then. Actually, I was interested in the ANC Youth League. But since I saw that ANC got none interest in their people, we've elected an councillor on the local elections. But there's nothing. I won't lie, guys. The last time I saw my councillor coming to speak to the people was the time when we put him on the stand. After these elections, I would like, as Jacob Zuma, our president, you know, to bring back the free education, first of all. The second thing that I would like, the water, guys, in Beaufort West. We have got a problem about water. People are paying bills and bills of water, but we are drinking recyclable water. But yeah, we know there are cases that is following him, you know, and all that stuff. And it's part of life, guys, to have such things, because you are working with people, you are working with money at the end of the day.
Every weekend they were shooting here. It's a area. Every weekend they're shooting here. So we decided, no man, this town, enough is enough. We can't go further on like that. And some of the guys, they're coming together, community members, all of us are community members. In fact, we say to each other, guys, no man, we must do something, but something in the boundaries. We can't do something out of the boundaries.
Yes.
So we decided, let's start a neighborhood watch.
And they are so afraid of us, the guys around here, if they see us. See? And even that guys are around here, they call the neighborhood, not the police. And sometimes there's no police vehicle around with us, it's only us. It makes no difference what kind of gang or who you are. If there is a problem, we stand together and we go together to protect the community. Because if we said, no man, it's not our problem, somebody can die.
I'm a big fan, I'm from the ANC. This guy is from the DA, he's from PA. But here we don't talk politics. But my vote is not a secret.
Yeah. Because politics in the neighborhood was not allowed.
Yes.
Because if we allowed politics in the neighborhood, there can be big trouble. Yes. Because we're gonna fight each other. Because we're gonna show each other, yeah, your party's and your party's like this and you're like this, and it's gonna get to a big fight. That's why we didn't allow politics in our neighborhood. If you want to talk politics, please outside on the neighborhood watch. Not where we are as neighborhood watch. We don't allow that.
Dodging potholes across the northwest province, we finally arrived in Vryburg, where the disparity between the town centre and the nearby suburb of Uhudi was immediately apparent. Water is scarce in Vryburg, and scarcer still in Uhudi, where some residents believe the drought is purposefully devised to enrich politically connected entrepreneurs.
Vryburg is a very vibrant in that most of our political leaders in the province, they come from Vryburg. And things are like, at least going forward, but it's not as smooth as one would like it to be, because like I'm saying, the political interferences, political interests are at times throwing a spanner into the works. It's a dichotomy of two sides. You can't just say cut and dry, it's a failure, or ANC, hallelujah, they have taken us out of the Egypt to the promised land. Not yet, Uhuru, we are not yet there. There are efforts that we can all see, but there are failures. Sometimes you say, why is the municipality not doing anything to this problem? Because the problem of water is a serious problem where it's also causing another phenomenon, the phenomenon of tankering, where you have now a certain, should I call it a group of people, I think I must be very careful on talking about this one, where people are benefiting out of the plight of the majority, the poor, where the poor doesn't have water, but some people will, out of that problem, at least, they will really thrive and make a killing out of it.
This thing is not a crisis of water. It's not a crisis. They made it deliberately. They don't want to fix the other pumps because they made this water thing a tender. We started asking the community, because there's this crisis, can we have a march or something? Then we come up with this thing, let's shut down everything. Let's close all the roads that are coming in and out from Vryburg, because you can find out Vryburg is in the center here. If you close everything here, then they will start listening. Because where I'm staying, we stay for something like 2 years to 3 years. There was no water coming from our tap. But when we said we are shutting down next week Friday, when that week start, everything, water was coming, just like it was a miracle. Yeah, yes, water. You see, I told you this is not a crisis. Why are we saying this to these people? We are shutting down everything. Now water is coming. So people, they're starting believing that. They intimidate me, yes, it's there. But cutting water for people, what are you expecting? I think somehow it's a human rights again violation. You are violating that person's right for just cutting this water or hot. So the future of the generation that is coming, who's gonna save them? Because these drugs, this crime, this corruption thing, who's gonna save them? How are we going to raise the next generation? That generation is gonna be worse. So some people die for me, so I will die for the next generation. It's fine.
Arriving at Constitution Hill in downtown Johannesburg, a human rights festival now in its 6th year reaffirms the themes of disillusionment and socio-economic inequality already encountered during the first half of the tour. It also gives important pause to reflect on the country's 30-year-old democracy and the hard-fought right to vote for the country's future. This sacrosanct right is reinforced by everyone we meet at Constitution Hill.
The Constitutional Court is literally right where we're standing next to, right? So I was a law clerk in 2012, and my love of the Constitution started from that journey. I was obviously a good fit to be co-opted next door into Constitution Hill, where we are now not behind the lens, not doing the research, not in the formal part of it, but in the activism part of it. So the Human Rights Festival started 6 years ago, and the idea behind it is to get people in the civil sector movements, ordinary South Africans, decision makers, some government departments, everybody to be in one room having conversations around democracy, around human rights. I know that we have challenges in the country, but there's no way that we can even start brainstorming around solutions if we don't know what the Constitution provides. So we are an engine that says create awareness, plant the seeds, put people together in one room, and in that way solutions might come out. We don't have all the answers, but the people around us do. They just don't have the opportunity to mix, and they don't have necessarily a platform that will create awareness like we do.
This is the first year they have a fully fledged film festival, which I curated. The most important thing that is highlighted is collective efforts towards an ideal. So we are hoping that they ignite a sense of responsibility and fighting for a better future, a better South Africa. 30 years post-democracy, the topic of human rights is still relevant because we are still seeing gross human rights violations. Workers' rights are still being violated. There's still unemployment. Basic service delivery are violations on human rights. We screened Sharpeville Spirit on the opening night, and on the 21st of March, commemorating the massacre in Sharpeville and Langa. But on the same day, we also screened Strike a Rock, which follows two women who are seeking justice for the Marikana massacre. And the Marikana massacre happened in 2012, post-apartheid. So that just frames and gives you a picture of the human rights violations that are still going on, and that's why it's important for South Africans to go out and vote in this year's elections.
I'm a student at Wits University, and there we have a charter chapter for Amnesty International. And one of the first things we did in our club meeting is that they told us about the history of South Africa, about Human Rights Day, why we have Human Rights Day, because a lot of people don't know why we have this public holiday. And that's because of the Sharpeville massacre and such, and all the struggles that people went through to get to the South Africa that we have today. So with everything that everybody went through, for us to get to a democracy, I do believe it's important that we take advantage of it and that we do vote and that we don't just stand by and let things happen as they are and complain. We need to remember the privilege that we are in, and we need to do something, do our part, be an informed voter to make a better South Africa. I say that in not making a choice, you are making a choice. You are making a choice to be compliant. And if you're okay with that, then that's okay. But if you do want to make a difference, I do believe that this is a better choice to make. So it did take a lot of personal research in order to make an informed decision. But I do believe that's something that everybody has to do. And it does mean a lot to me because I live in this country and I plan to stay here. And so I do want to make it the best place that it can be.
It's clear that South Africa's energy crisis is only eclipsed by a widespread and never-growing water catastrophe. In most towns we've visited so far, taps run dry intermittently, and residents are forced to buy bottled water or visit meager rivers. In Motse, roughly 30 kilometers from Groblersdal in Limpopo, the dawn of democracy brought little reprieve to this plight, with running water, although promised, never reaching nearby villages.
Where we are today, this is a spanning village. This structure is a steel tank. It's a water reservoir, a dam that must store water and distribute water to the reticulation network. But during the time of implementation of this project, due processes were never followed. That is why today we end up with an output that is incomplete. People are not getting water, but all the budgeted funds are gone. You know, the water was the priority of the ruling government. When they get in government, they have first prioritized water as a source of life. But today, after 30 years, we still have challenges of no water to the communities. So I'm putting blame in the government that our government do not actually, they have failed the community.
Akusiyimi ngedwa, even ekhaya and then even nasejardini la ngihlala khona. Ngokuthi kwamanje ngikhele ejardini la ngihlala khona. Ngayenzeka ukuthi kusasa ngikhele ekhaya. And then plus nokuwasha ekhaya. Angisho bahlala nabantwana. And then abamaningi amanzi. Ngeskin 6 drum. Lamadrama blue kwase kuthi ngigcwalise wona. And then akungakani izulu siyasafara ngamanzi. Izulu alinele kungcono siyakhanyazela. Yeah, ngizovota. Isiphetho ukuthi ngivote. Ngifuna ukubona ishintsho eliningi. Like kungashintshi into one. Kutshintshe konke esiforum esimeni samanzi. Esitifi esenzima kakhulu samanzi. Angikholelwa. Sekukade sivotele ANC. Mara iba nama empty promise. That's why ngithi angizazi ukuthi ngijame kuphi ukuthi ngingavotele ANC yini.
It's so frustrating after a democracy government whereby we thought everything will be easier for this community. But in the nutshell, we are telling ourselves lies. Since we have been incorporated in Limpopo, 2009, up to this far, we don't have water. It means we have 20 years without water. Actually, in Mutse, we are suffering a lot. Is what I can tell you now. We are in that frustrations of water. We are still pursuing this government that it must come and hear the people of Mutse. And we want to make sure that as we are going to the elections, whoever that will elect, he must bring the change in this place. I want these politicians and open their ears that whoever that we are going to vote for, let them bring the promise that they are promising people, because they come with the empty promises. Every time we give them chance, they said, give us the chance. We give them chance, but they never do anything. So now, it's a high time now whereby as a community, we step up as a community and make sure that things are happening. I don't see any in this government that we are in now that will help us, because we have been crying to them for 30 years, crying. They never do anything.
Reports of Durban's demise have not been exaggerated. It's Easter weekend, and the Durban beach promenade is deserted, save for a few restless rickshaw operators, lonesome snack vendors, and a few Segway riders. We're told that tourists haven't really returned since the pandemic ended, and that piles of rubbish around the city have ruined the reputation of this once sought-after holiday destination.
The Durban, it's not, I'm not sure about improving it, but even you see the Durban, it's not clean, first. It's not clean. Nobody wants to come in a place which is dirty. Even the pandemic, that's the pandemic. That's ruins things before. Because staying at home for 2 years, it wasn't nice. It's 2 years, yeah. It wasn't nice, it wasn't good, and you get nothing. So we came here to sell and the business, to push the stuff, but still, the stuff is stuck. Yeah, it's not easy to cover all this. Yes, even now, the tourists are still not coming here. I don't think they have enough money. Yeah, I don't think they have enough money. Because everything is high, even the prices are high. And the jobs, still, it's less in this country. Yeah, I can keep my business running here because I still have a hope that it would come back again.
The unrest somehow created a sort of perception to the entire world that there's a lot of racism in Phoenix, but that was, in my opinion, was being distorted because I live in Phoenix. I serve in Phoenix and other areas, but the reality exists that it's not racism. It's just a perception that went out viral. However, what's happening now is that people are rebuilding the relationships with each other. But what the primary factor in this entire process is poverty, the struggle to rise and make ends meet. I think that is the primary factor that is creating a lot of problems in our society. I strongly believe that our city has a huge potential. However, there's a major neglect of service delivery. There's a lack of will, a political will, by the ruling party to take errand officials to task. Officials are placed in key positions who should be performing the duties effectively are not doing the job properly. We have this water crisis in eThekwini, electricity outages that are not sorted out timeously. We cannot continuously blame the citizens. We need to, politically, there must be accountability, and the ruling party must be accountable for these sort of problems that are occurring in our city.
Winding down Van Rhiannon's Pass, we arrive at what was once considered the jewel of the Free State, Harrismith. Now, though, its small town pavements are smothered with trash and its roads dotted with potholes. Here, the municipality is wholly dysfunctional. It's left to a group of Harrismith homeowners to resuscitate their town with tar and water trucks, dirt bins and diesel.
Harrismith used to be the jewel of the Free State years ago, and it has just deteriorated and gone from bad to worse. We just decided that we cannot live in this place or trade in this town anymore. This is where our kids are. This is where my grandchildren lives, and it's eating away at my soul. We lived in a very beautiful little town. Water, sewage, tar roads, electricity. There's nothing I can actually exclude. Refuse hasn't been removed from my house in the last 7 years. So we as HEAT has started with our association where we remove the refuse of members. Members pay a membership fee, and that money is being used to upkeep the town. The amount of money that we've got available is limited, but we do try and clean center of town from time to time as well at our cost, because it's our town. Just in the last 8 months, we have used 120 tons of tar to repair our town streets. Municipality lacks in any effort to fix anything in this town of Harrismith. And all we can do is by standing up as a community together and fight this corruptive system and do the best we can.
Indlela ayikho right nje Harrismith, hayi indlela khona ayikho right, yonke nje yabheda. Nje nasedropini ngaphakathi nje ngcolile, akubukeki nje ukuthi sedropini. Angibhizi kona, ngiyahluleka nje ukusebenza ngenxa yendlela. ngisebenzi nje kamnandi ngikhululekile njengoba imvula zina kunje ngiyahluleka ukusebenza kwezinye zendawo fanele ngikhethe indawo la ngizakhona ukusebenzela khona ukuqhubeka umsebenzi phambili. Indlela ngifuna yonke into kube ngcono kubonakala idrobha libonakala ukuthi la isedrobheni la iselokishini la ikuphi yonke into nje kube ibukeke nje indawo yethu kube kuhle indlela nje kakhulukazi hayi imoto zikhona ukuhamba kuyasokoleka nje kunqolile nje uyazibonela nawe nje ubhekile uyabona nje kunjani kuba ngcono manje njengoba kuzoza ama-election khani kuba naleyo busy leyo ukuthi kanjani konke nje lokho hayi nakhona nokuklina kakhona nje kliniwe nje ngokuthi maye kususe lokho kungaphambi kwethu esikubonayo. Hey ngiba nenkinga nje ngoba kunje nendlela kungabi nento elungayo ngazi ukuthi ngiyavota noma ngingazazi kahle kahle angizazi noma ngivota ngizothi into engiyivotelayo angiyazi nento ngizothi ngiyivotela angiyiboni nje ngobumina bami.
We've been in Harrismith for about 30 years now. Harrismith was generating so much money for the municipality, but yet they were not putting any of the money back in town. So that's when we started seeing the real deterioration and the non-maintenance of basic things. So it's been absolutely ridiculous what's been happening. Sometimes we've got major electrical breakdowns, then we've got to run on generators. And it goes anything from 1 day to 28 days on generator itself. And then obviously if there's no power in town, they can't pump water. So business-wise, we're fortunate that we can actually go and truck water in and have some storage for it. But it comes at an unbelievable cost. Just on electricity, for my business, it's about 45,000 Rand just on diesel. And then it's quite easily, for the extra water, it's another 20,000 Rand just to truck water in for us to use for a month. So it's absolutely crazy. You're so reliant on your businesses to provide work to people. And that escalates to families and all that. So there's a lot of money that won't go to families if businesses have to close down. I've been in Harrismith my whole life, and moving somewhere else, it's not that easy. So yeah, it's you've got to go where the money can go, and you've got to go where you can make money. So if this is not the place, then you've got to go somewhere else.
The Western Cape's garden route is pristine, a playground for local travellers and tourists alike. And despite recent horror stories of Knysna, we found comparatively clean streets and fresh air. That's in part thanks to the area's natural beauty, but also to a group of like-minded Knysna locals who, citing the town's steady decline owing to a change of governance, have taken it upon themselves to clear litter from around the lagoon and plant gardens along the main road through town.
I'm one of the site guides in the Knysna township. Been doing the township tours for 15 years. With the fire that was in Knysna in 2017, that affected all of us because Knysna, mainly we get our bread and butter in tourism. It employs a big number of people. So for the whole 2017, towards the end, it was hard to get more tourists because most of our big establishment burned down, which means then they have to change their accommodation. Then 2018, we were rising up from the ashes. Then 2019, then we were flying again in tourism. Then 2020, boom, COVID. So we were out for 2 years, and then it was a big struggle. Struggle for everyone, people up here in the northern areas and also downtown. There were times when we come up here, I'll feel like chucking myself under the seat because there will be garbage everywhere. And then for the tourists, there are people that, you know, they don't care about what they see. Then it's like the garbage and they're worried about disease and everything. So yeah, it did affect us a lot, and especially our dignity, because then you still have to stand tall and tell the truth. My hope for the next elections is that people will vote with the brain, not with the heart. Because if we vote with the heart, then we vote for the wrong reason. I think we have to put a bit of loyalty on the side and face reality and see the need and focus on what we need to be achieved in our new South Africa.
Our economy depends on tourism, absolutely everybody, and our property market, obviously. So I just wanted Knysna to look clean, especially for the Easter weekend. So I started a campaign, Keep Knysna Clean. And the big drive was to clean up the lagoon, which is absolutely critical, obviously, and also the main street of Knysna. So I formed a WhatsApp group. We've got about 500 people on there, and we have a regular time slot once a week. It's normally a Wednesday, 4:30, and that hour we focus on cleaning up the lagoon area like we're doing right now. And then we have our big mass cleanup of Main Street. That's been on a Saturday, and what I've done is I've got volunteers. They via WhatsApp, they tell me that they're going to help. Also, what's the really heartwarming thing about this is that people are taking action on their own. Like they'll send me photos and say, oh, we went for a walk and there was a really bad area and we've cleaned it up and we've picked up so many bags of litter. And some of the neighborhoods are now beginning to take responsibility. And that's the one thing that I had always hoped for, that people would start taking responsibility and accountability and become pavement proud. Because if we all just did our little patch and took a bit of a public space, it wouldn't be such a massive task.
Traveling across South Africa and relaying the voice of communities ahead of the 2024 elections gives insight into the country's soul. And as her people, with stories of both despondency and resilience in equal measure, head to the polls on 29 May. It's the vision of what could be, more so than what has been, that will drive the pen on the ballot paper.